Yeah, we're zoning in on track and field now for 15 countries across the region. The 19th edition of the World Athletic Championship will be live on the SportsMax app through a dedicated channel. If you're in Anguilla, Barbados, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Dominica, Guyana, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, both St. Martin, Dutch St. Martin and French St. Martin, St. Vincent of the Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, or Turks and Caicos Islands, then the SportsMax app is the place to watch Budapest 2023. Today, the SportsMax Zone continues to preview the event. On Monday, we focused on the jumps, and today we'll zone in on the throwing events, discus, shot put, javelin, and the hammer throw. This is an area English-speaking Caribbean has made significant strides in recently, winning 6 medals, all of which have come since 2015, including back-to-back javelin gold medals for the Grenadian Anderson Peters. Let's have a look now at the top participants from the region in each of these events. So we have the discus for men, where Travis Michael, Frederick Dakers and Roger Stoner, all top 10 in the moment on the World Athletics performance list, will be competing. Pretty strong entrance there from Jamaica. Samantha Hall from discus, again from Jamaica, 61.29, her season's best. The shot put participants, Daniel Thomas Dodd, world and Olympic finalist, 1977, her season's best, representing Jamaica, looking for a podium finish in Budapest. Among the men, Rajendra Campbell shot into prominence this year with his 22-22 effort, currently number 4 in the world, again out of Jamaica. And these javelin men, Anderson Peters, reigning champion, Cashone Walcott, both top 10 at the moment in the World Athletics performance list, and Kishon Strawn, the Bahamian Carifta champion of last year, who comes in here as a top 15 performer so far this year. So pretty strong javelin performers here for the region, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago and the Bahamas. We haven't seen a hammer throw participant of prominence from the CARICOM region in a long time. Neuka Clunis from Jamaica, 71.18, representing Jamaica, comes in here. And pretty strong throwers going to the Budapest World Championship from the Caribbean. And I think Candy Scott, the Trinidad and Tobago hammer thrower, who was a Pan Am Games bronze medalist and Olympic and World Championship finalist back in 03, World Championship, 04 Athens, would have been the last CARICOM athlete I remember as a hammer thrower of prominence at the world level. So great to see Clunis getting a spot on the Jamaica team in the hammer event. Now our in-house track and field analyst Leighton Levy now joins us. Leighton, should we expect medals in the throws in Budapest? And I suspect your answer should be yes.
It should be yes. But unfortunately, unless something extraordinary happens, I think it's going to be a difficult opportunity for anybody. Anderson Peters is probably the best opportunity, given how well he's performed over the last couple of seasons. But this year so far, he has not been the thrower we expect him to be. You were used to seeing from him a 90-meter throw where he's at 85. I'm not quite sure if there are injuries that have impacted his season, but he's not the thrower that he was last year and the season before, when he was world champion and, of course, runner-up at the Commonwealth Games just last year. So, you know, it looks tough. One of the things that, we see is that just about 4 years ago, when Frederick Dakers, for example, finished with a silver medal at the World Championships, the discus has moved on now. Back then, there was probably Daniel Starr, who was the only person who was throwing 70 meters. This year, there are 5 men over 70 meters. And while the Jamaicans have thrown close to their personal best, of course, Dakers' personal best is 70.78. Travis Michael and Roger Stone have both thrown personal bests. And as you mentioned on top of the show, Lance, they're in the top 10. But you're going to have to throw other personal bests closer to 70 meters or beyond to be able to, I think, factor among the medals at the championships. I was talking to Frederick Dakers after the national championships here in Jamaica last month. And he was indicating to me that he had a slight tear in his groin, which was preventing him from really popping out and throwing far, because he'd been hitting 70 meters in training quite regularly. However, It's been what, it's only about 4 or 5 weeks now since before the start of the World Championship. So hopefully he will have been healed and he'll be able to produce the kind of throws that would most likely have him content. Similarly for Stoner and Schmeichel. Schmeichel has been consistent all season. This is perhaps his best season with the Discus. But I think he's going to probably need to add another meter or hope that the 5 men above the Jamaicans right now underperform in Budapest for them to be able to pick up a medal.
Yeah, Leighton Levy, you make some interesting points, and I don't know that I can disagree with you on anything that you just said. I want to say, though, if I were to have a dark horse for a medal at the World Championships, it might actually be in the men's discus. And you mentioned him, Travis Schmeichel, that he's been having his, quite likely, his best season ever in terms of consistency. He won the national title, and I take note of the 66.12 meter effort that he had to win the national title. And I know that when you look at a lot of the top men across the world, they've hit that 70 meter mark and so on. But in my opinion, Leighton, I just think, and we've had this discussion before about how difficult, for example, it is to throw inside the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica. And how when you look at the performances, you'll have competitors who are throwing 67, 68 meters elsewhere. And when they get to the National Stadium in Kingston, they struggle to get over 65 meters. And in my mind, that 66.12 at the Nationals in Kingston could likely be worth 67 high, if not 68 meters. And I just feel that Travis Schmeichel has regained the confidence that he left the junior ranks, and when he just went into the senior ranks and qualified for the Olympic Games just out of high school, and that he could be dangerous at this World Championship. And I know it's a long shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to pull a surprise.
No, and I think could go for all three of them, Ricardo. I think when you look at what Frederick Jacobs has been able to do, and Travis, as I mentioned before, this is, I mean, he threw up a personal best this season and has been consistently over 66 meters. You know, so anything is possible. A lot will have to depend on what the stadium is in Budapest, though, Ricardo, whether or not it's one of those wind-friendly environments where the Discus will sail along. But having said that, if he's able to throw 68, 69, chances are Chev, who has been consistently over 71, will probably throw 73. Look, I'm not ruling out anything here because it's what you do on the day that matters most. And I do believe that the three Jamaicans, if given a window through which they can jump to get onto the podium, they will take it. However, when you look at the fact that there are 5 men, Axel Rose, the young Aletna, you know, Daniel Stahl, and of course, Che, as we mentioned before, it's going to be difficult. So it's not impossible, but unlikely. I mean, these guys, I'm the biggest fan of these guys because I've been following them since they were at Calabar High School coming through. And I've seen them win at the junior level consistently. But right now, I think the Discus has moved to a point where they're going to have to put their A game, or put a plus on their A game to factor into the medals. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to. So, you know, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, one of the difficulty, especially with trying to analyze this event, and especially with an athlete like Travis Schmeichel, is that he wouldn't have gone head-to-head with many of the top men this season. So his top performances would have come at completely different venues. And as Leighton pointed out, the conditions can make a significant difference to how far you throw on a particular day. I think only Alex Rose, who is the 5th best thrower in the world this year, that someone like a Schmeichel would have gone up against this campaign, and that was at the Racers Grand Prix when Alex Rose got the win in Kingston. Cashone Walcott
beat him in Texas, I think it was as well. So,
yeah, so
it's possible, but that puts him 4.
Well, let's see how it goes when they all come head to head, face to face in the same conditions at the World Championships. Cashone Walcott, he's managed to come to the party at the Olympic Games 2012, 2016, but it hasn't quite happened for him at the World Championships. But if there's a man who can surprise, maybe it is him. I don't know. How do you see his chances, if you think he has any at all in Budapest?
Well, the world hasn't been particularly set up like this year in the javelin. If you look across the board, there are not very many throwers who have gone as far as Peters, for example, in the last couple of seasons. But so if they are able to push anything over 87, 88 meters, I think they'll be in the hunt for medals. I think both men are capable, but I suppose Anderson Peters as well. Both of them are capable of hitting the higher heights, well beyond the 85 meters that they've both thrown this year so far. Maybe their programs are designed for them to be peaking at the World Championship, so that's probably something that we can look forward to. But if they both bring their best performances, I do believe that they will contend and could be among the medals in Budapest.
Yes, 6 and 7 on the World Athletics Performance list this season, with 85-88 for Anderson Peters and 85-85 for Cashone Walcott. Danielle Thomas-Dodd in the women's shot put, a medalist in 2019, a silver medalist. I still believe that she was robbed the winning throw when it was ruled a foul, and to this day we can't get a good replay on that. Quite unfortunate, but she's been there and thereabouts this season. No doubt that she is top 5 in the world. When you look at what the women in the shot put have done this year, today you can be first and tomorrow you can be 5th, and it's going to be a similar story at the World Championships. Do you suspect that Danielle Thomas-Dodd's upside is as such that when the event is all done, she could be one of those among the medals?
I think so, and here's why. Danielle Thomas-Dodd has on this. She's one of those people who brings her best game when she's in the heat of battle against the best throwers. We've seen that time and time again, and it's taken extraordinary performances from her rivals to get the better of her. This year we have Maggie Yuen, who's run 20.45. Of course, very talented Chase Ely, 20.06. Similarly to Gong from China, who's also run 20.06. And of course, there is Tara Mitten from Canada. All of these ladies are consistent enough to be throwing 19 highs and 20 lows. Danielle Thomas-Dodd, 1977 this season. When we spoke to her earlier this year, she indicated that this is probably the first time that she's been healthy in a while. So 1977 is probably a precursor to what we can expect in Budapest, where maybe she gets closer to 20 meters. If she gets closer to 20 meters and somebody falls under the pressure of the competition, I think she could probably end up on the podium. Whether she wins is another matter, because Maggie Yuen has been throwing out her skin so far this season, and I think it's going to be very difficult to beat her. But, that's why they play the game, they say. You don't know what they're going to come with in Budapest. So if Danielle can get closer to 20 meters and be consistent through the rounds with it, who knows? She might very well end up coming home with a medal.
Yeah, you're very much right. The American Maggie Yuen has been throwing Valerie Adams for the 2023 season, and it will be very difficult to deny her. So we're almost out of time, Leighton, but I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you had to say how many medals, I think yesterday for the jumps we said 2 to 4 for the English-speaking Caribbean. If you had to say for the throws,
best case 2.
Best case 2. And your favorites for those 2 would be?
Any one of the male discus throwers. I don't know who's going to bring it. It could look, all of them are within the same window here. Yeah. 68 meters, 68 low to 68 high. If any of them can bring that performance to Budapest or maybe a little better, I think they might be on the podium. And I think Danielle Thomas-Dodd, you can never rule her out, because we've seen her record over the years. She has a tendency to find that extra 6 inches or 8 inches in major competitions to pull something out of the bag. So I think if they both bring it, probably 2, and just let me correct myself a little bit, because Anderson Peters is not somebody to overlook. I mean, he's thrown 90 meters consistent over the past 2 seasons. He hasn't got there yet. I know he's been having some issues so far this year, But if he can get back to the Anderson Peters that we saw last year, or 89, 90-meter throw, he may very well win it again, because the reality is that the field is not that far from him right now, even at 85 meters. He's very, very, very capable of overcoming whoever is ahead of him right now and probably take another gold medal back to Grenada.
Yeah, it would be remiss of me if I didn't ask you about the new kid on the block in the men's shot put, Rajendra Campbell, the 22-man Jamaican record. Shocked everyone with that performance in Spain to qualify for the World Championships. We've not seen anything from him yet since, but he is ranked 4th in the world. What's your feeling about this man?
Boy, Ricardo, I'm keeping my fingers crossed about this kid, because he's gone through a lot. I mean, he struggled through, almost quit the sport. But then he found something. He found a belief system that has helped him at 22. I just said, put him 4th in the world, which is not that far from 2nd and 3rd. Of course, you know, Ryan Crowther is like a million miles away from everybody else at 23 meters 56 this year. But if he can probably produce a national record again, 22.5 in that region, I think he'll be in the hunt for medals. He definitely will be, because I don't think that Kovacs or Tim Walsh from New Zealand, are that much more consistent in terms of those numbers that will prevent him from probably getting in there, sneaking in there, and getting on the podium. So if he can produce another big throw, you know, 22 plus 23, anything about 22, 2, 3, or 5, you know, who knows? Miracles do happen sometimes.
Yeah, very much the case. Leighton Levy, thanks very much for joining us on the SportsMax Zone, and we'll be chatting throughout the remainder of the week as we build up to the World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Of course, 5 CARICOM athletes have secured medals in the throwing events at the World Championships. The Jamaican shot putter Adaine Richards, the first to do so in 2015. Daniel Thomas Dodd followed in 2019 with a shot put women's silver. Frederick Dacres won a discus silver, another Jamaican, and Anderson Peters, the 2-time defending world champion in the men's javelin, trying to make it 3 in a row. We'll be here to talk about it here on the SportsMax Zone. We take a break. I'll be back with more.